Welcome back. Let's find out if we've got anything wrong so far. For that, we go to the delightful Dana Vachon. So, Dana, what did we do wrong, Vachon?
Yeah, Gutfeld, mine is more of a divine mandate for inquiry.
Oh, okay.
Let's start with the coming apocalypse.
Yeah.
Joe, we discussed a sort of robotic dystopia that was unavoidable and would reduce humanity to almost nothing. Mm-hmm. How does your fleshlight enter into that?
Fleshlight? That's a quality product for someone with today's active lifestyles. And I'll thank you not to disparage the woman I love.
May I add something? Dishwasher friendly.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
Chris Rozar, you went to Yale. Assuming there are none, what parallels do you see between the Predator drone, Lot's wife, and Icarus?
Assuming there are none, what do I see?
Well, yeah, this is where the Ivy League component enters into it.
You know, I can't see any. Lot's wife to me doesn't fit in anywhere there. It's
She
all
was
about the
dehumanized,
gaze. It's
though,
contemplating the gaze, really, is what it is.
She turned to salt.
Yeah, she did.
She lost her agency. There you have
But she
it.
gave it up.
So rather than give us answers, you are trying to confuse us with, like, weird SAT questions.
And
Greg.
the Burger King story is about salt.
Yes.
I was paying attention.
To consider the issue seriously, don't you think it's a little ridiculous to fault an unfeeling killing machine for its benumbed deathliness?
You're absolutely right. It's only doing what it's programmed to do, and it does it efficiently.
So I think we can agree that the Predator drones are doing just fine and that this is sort of a ridiculous issue.
Nah, I guess you could.
I think so. I think it's possible. Moving on now to the royal wedding. Imogen, you discussed Brand Britain.
Yes.
How do bleeding gums, institutionalized pedophilia, and intergenerational unemployment play into that?
Well,
Don't get us started, A.
don't get me started. That's a fascinating concept of Britain. Have you ever been to Britain?
I have.
Really? When?
I had a wedding there in June.
Oh, okay, so fairly recently. You're not describing a Britain I recognise.
I'm
Funny
still
that.
banned from the Royal Automobile Club. Imogen, a follow-up question for you. In the tradition of pretending to care about this royal wedding, Kate's first boyfriend, Rupert Peppermill Finch,
Which I informed you about earlier, yes.
is said to be on the guest list.
He is.
What are we to make of the Finch factor?
We make that it is a thoroughly modern wedding where 6 exes are invited, 4 for William, 2 for Kate. It's just modern. She's a modern woman.
But that is a good point. I would never invite my exes to my
Ever.
wedding.
That doesn't seem very modern.
Yeah, it seems kind
That seems
Chris
so
Rozar, you went to Yale, which has a lot to do with modernity.
Why do we keep saying that?
When William produces the on his wedding night, assuming
Wedding morning.
Assuming that American viewers want to be culturally in sync with the proceedings, would British culture require that they fall silent or genuflect?
I think like a deep curtsy for men and for women is appropriate. I mean, it's midday when it'll happen in the U.S. So you don't want to go too crazy.
To touch on Charles Manson for a little bit, Joe, why does Manson continue to fascinate us even as he's been outdone by significantly more imaginative and prolific homicidal maniacs?
Dana, I will give you that $1 for making the comment. I will.
Thank you, sir. These are tough times. We all got to work for the money.
It's U.S. currency.
Finally, to end with Chris, who went to Yale. Chris,
What if
earlier,
I went to Yale School of Dentistry? Come on.
this question sort of ties it all together.
All right.
Earlier, you described the April day in 1993 when, after your sister Debbie goaded you into hitting her because she was jealous of your superior grades, after you'd been scolded and threatened with psychotherapy, as your mother listlessly drove and your father rode beside her in his own peculiar violent
I
silence.
get the $1 from you after that.
You looked out from the window of the maroon Honda Civic onto a weather-pocked stretch of Delaware Highway and thought, in a violent and corrupt society, the family has become a machine for controlling people.
Yes.
Is the royal family, perhaps, like all families, just another kind of predator drone?
Well,
It's okay.
I love how you're
They're
trying.
more warm.
Mr. Gutfeld, I think at this point I can only throw it back to you and hope you catch it.
Yes. Whatever you throw, I'm not going to catch.
You're gonna duck.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, goodbye, Dana. So last night,
Wow. Where are we?
all right, yes. Last night I told you how much I enjoy piggyback riding on large, hairless hobos. And I act like that's somehow less weird than Dana. But I also love charity. So let's get to my latest piece of art. It's called Unicorn at Cleanup. It's a sports-inspired drawing I made back when I was a huge fan of the New York Metros and their awesome round orb throwing skills. Baseball truly is America's pastime, and I encourage everyone to take up the beautiful match. So far, I've received just a $100 bid from Aubrey in Brea, California. Here, that place is the Pits.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you very much. Anyway, you have till Friday to beat that tiny bid, and you can $100. Come on, this is for charity. Email your offer to redeye@Fox News to be considered. And as you know, all the money goes to TAPS, a nonprofit group that provides grief counseling and support programs to families of fallen soldiers. You can go to taps.org to learn more. But let's not forget the real message here. It's not about charity. It's about me enticing runaways into my paneled van. Hey, aren't you the guy who does charity? Why, yes, troubled runaway. No need to worry about my intentions. Let me unlock the door. Well, I guess I could use a lift to the hostel. Of course you can. Here, have a soda. I bet you're thirsty. Thanks, sir. Wow, I'm getting really sleepy. Wow. Anyway, coming up, did goatees help me get chicks? We discussed Joe DeVito's book. No, goatees did not help me get chicks. But first, oh, look, a story on Charlie Sheen. Haven't done that in a while. Don't worry, we'll keep it short.
Guests on Red Eye will stay at the luxurious Red Eye Suites. Conveniently located just minutes from the Garden State Parkway, the Red Eye Suites provide world-class accommodations for first and longtime guests alike. Guests on Red Eye will receive a guided bike tour of Central Park with the Action Brothers, Tex and Lex. The Action Brothers have been training together for over 15 years, and their mission is to show you a good time every time.
Should glancing at your droid make others annoyed? Or is obsessing over your iPad not so bad? In a New York Times story, David Carr argues that the digital revolution has made it fashionable to be rude. Carr witnessed the madness while at South by Southwest Interactive, the annual tech conference in Austin, where the obsession to stay connected via Twitter, email, text, and so forth dominated almost every interaction. But why would people rather pay attention to a phone than a friend? Explains Carr. The screen offers a data stream of many people as opposed to the individual you happen to be near. You can choose the most interesting one, unlike the human rain delay you may stuck with at a party. Wow. Well, because you're so interesting, Mr. Carr. Anyway, let's discuss this in our
Lightning round. Lightning round.
Imogen, he's got a point there, but isn't the BlackBerry the best thing for women to keep men away from hitting on you? You always have something to look at.
On some levels, yes, it is a tool, as it were, in dating. You know you're on a great date if neither of you look at your Crackberry.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, those barometers of good taste, the Royals have banned mobiles at the royal wedding. Because, yes, it is rude to look at your mobile.
Yeah, but they're worried about...
Especially during wedding. They're worried about security.
They're worried about pictures.
It just tied it in,
Yeah.
and I was just...
Chris, the thing about me isn't the behavior. It's the fact that people can take pictures of you when you're in your locker room. That's what bothers me.
Do you find people doing that of you a lot?
No, I do it.
Lost the weight?
I do it.
I see.
I can't resist doing it. I never used to do that, and now I do it all the time.
You do the old up towel, just like as you're walking by.
I a little bit reject the premise, though, or beg the question, or whatever the phrase is, because I don't know that it's not rude. I think it's still incredibly rude to do that when you're talking to people.
Yeah, you think it's rude.
I mean, I do it on the elevator in order to be like purposefully, passively rude.
Yes.
But other than that, I think it's quite aggressively rude.
No, I find it troubling, Joe, when you're behind somebody and you know what it is? When I'm doing it, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those. If I'm doing it, it's okay thing. So you're walking down the street and you stop and you start doing that. makes me want to kill, like, people who they're in their own world. This is more important than what's going on around.
Yeah, I've started running into those people deliberately just to show them what's up. I think it's incredibly rude.
I stabbed them.
Yeah, and I would not. No jury would convict you for that.
Not here.
I saw an episode of CSI where they showed, well, they didn't show, but you could turn your cell phone into a taser.
Yeah.
The trick is, how do you turn someone else's cell phone into a taser so that when they're being rude like that, you manipulate it and it just zaps them unconscious? Because they deserve it. It's incredibly rude.
Or just buy a taser. Well, what's
well, state of New York, hello.
I hate to be the fact police here, and I'm no lawyer, but I got to think that if you stab someone for using a BlackBerry, a jury's going to convict you.
Yeah, think so?
Yeah, no, I really do.
You are no lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the ombudsman tonight, guys, but I thought I'd throw that in there.
But Bill, it's
the kids, at least.
It's not going to get raised.
Right, yeah. I mean, we got young people watching, Greg.
I have to say that, like, David Carr makes a good point, but at the same time, Carr is guilty of one huge thing. He tweeted incessantly about being at South by Southwest, which is almost more obnoxious, telling people where you are and what you're doing.
The destination tweets.
The destination tweets I find more obnoxious than anything.
Okay, I'm sorry. But when I got stuck on a 19-hour trip back from London to here, then I did tweet.
Well,
that's okay. I'm talking about the first
time. It's great time killers. And actually, you know, people on their BlackBerry when they're talking to other people, they don't bother me. People complain about people on their BlackBerry while they're talking about it. Those are the ones that bother me. Everyone hates everyone else. People suck. BlackBerries have allowed us to show this. BlackBerries have allowed us to be honest about the fact that we don't really care what you have to say. So God bless them. They're showing us for who we are. It is a mirror to our soul.
It really is. Whatever that guy just said.
You didn't hear me.
I was thinking about what I'm going to eat later. All right, new study out of the University of California, San Francisco, finds that multitasking impedes short-term memory, especially in older adults. This follows the growing concern among scientists that the endless stream of texts, emails, tweets is bad for the brain in the same way that sugar is bad for our bodies. Do you buy this, Imogen? Reading my tweets could actually hurt you. I happen to think it might improve you.
But surely it's all about balance. Internet social networking, a good thing brought about the Arab Spring, but at the same time we're talking about all these kids who are spending 8 hours a day on the internet. It's no good for them and their social skills.
Arab Spring is an amazing soap, right?
Exactly,
yes.
That's it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm referring to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have the little sailor guy. Remember, he throws the soap at you, Bill? Chris, is social networking like sugar, or is this just scientists looking for another thing to bang on because they have no friends?
No, I mean, I think, well, I don't think it's like sugar in that it's going to kill us all immediately.
Yes.
I think, but New York Magazine had a cover story a couple years ago that looked at this, and it was definitely, it doesn't help you get your work done, and it doesn't help you. Even though you, like, taking a smoke break might feel like the 5 minutes away sort of allows you to reboot, social networking and stuff like that really doesn't.
Yeah, I find that it has replaced a lot of more constructive things that I do. Like, I do almost no charity work now anymore, Joe. And it's the kids, not me, that are suffering. It's the kids.
Well, I'm still a big fan of charity and all the girls who dance down at the Rusty Nipple.
Yes.
You have to make time for them.
You really do have to make time for them, Joe. And you know what? Maybe I should be texting her. Yes.
Not if I get her number first.
Yes, that is true. But what do you make of this? Do you think this is a horrifying thing?
It is. I think it lets people feel like they're doing something, but they're not really achieving anything. They're just wasting time. I think the thing that bothered me most about getting a smartphone was that I want to know what it's doing when I'm not. The Droid runs applications when I'm not doing anything with it, and I don't like it having a life.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Especially
it's up to something.
Especially if the life is more interesting than your life.
That's
true. But Bill, last word to you on this. Isn't this based on the fact that 99% of everything else in the world sucks? Like, if you turn on TV, you got 500 channels, and there's and nobody.
According to Jim, thanks but no thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll see what's going on the old Twitter.
Exactly. So you sit there, you watch your TV, but you're on your Twitter.
Right.
I'm sounding like an old man.
But Imogen brought up something very apropos earlier. She referred to the BlackBerry as a crackberry.
It is a crackberry.
I've never heard that before.
I think it's to coin a phrase. And certain social media is like crack, wherein only in moderation, Greg. And that's an important thing for you kids out there. Smoke 1, 2 hits of crack. Don't go and finish the whole pipe. And social media is much the same way. Just a little bit at a time. Don't smoke all the rock at the same time.
And not during dinner.
You get jitters, too.
Yeah, not during dinner.
Yeah.
Granny will never understand that. Speaking of which, a group of 9/11 truthers is ticked off at Charlie Sheen, saying he betrayed them and are threatening to protest in front of his live shows. Apparently, they're upset that Sheen, once very vocal in his belief in the truth or conspiracy crap, has turned most of his attention to, quote, bragging about smoking crack and sleeping with hookers. Chris, this has got to be heartbreaking for Charlie to lose a truther support.
Well, I think it's his #1 concern at this particular juncture. But I mean, I don't know why they're so worried. They still have Spidey. And,
yes.
and Woody Harrelson.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, they have a whole roster of truthers to turn to now that Charlie's gone.
You know, I don't have any friends that are truthers because I've always noticed that people like that can't stop talking about that thing. Isn't that their problem? Is that if you don't agree with them, they're just bizarro, or it's a sign of mental illness.
They're obsessed. They're obsessed. That's when you get the crap out and looking at that rather than listening to them. Just a problem with Charlie here. He's got 2 kids, or 2 kids with his current wife who's gone back to rehab. He's talking about crack and shagging hookers and goodness knows what else. And actually, it's just a bit sad and a bit pathetic now. Poor Charlie.
Making a lot of money.
Joe, is there any silver lining to this? And I don't even know what I mean by this.
Sure, way to bum everyone out.
Charlie Sheen is boring me, though. I'm sorry.
I think it's pretty sad that these people are complaining like, what? Charlie Sheen said something self-centered and unfocused? He's coming out of nowhere with this, so it's their own fault.
All right, what do I have? Did you tell me? 35 hard? Then I got to take a break. Time for another break. Check out the new Red Eye podcast. There's a new one every day. To catch them, go to foxnewsradio.com and click on Red Eye. Tonight we talked about my trip to South Beach and drinking habits of males and females. Fun. So at a Tea Party rally in Madison, Wisconsin this weekend, some protesters had a message for Sarah Palin. One fella in particular had a rebuttal so well constructed that it clearly took hours to prepare. A message so furious, we're still trying to figure out exactly what it is. Well said, sir. I loved you in They Live. Was that Rowdy? That was Rowdy.
That was Roddy Piper.
Was that Rowdy Piper?
It was an extra Braveheart.
You know what that was? That was kind of like before they had Match.com. That's how you courted women.
Yes.
You stood, you got out there and you just screamed, "Make a choice! Make a choice!"
It looks like he can murder someone any minute and be interviewed by Vanity Fair in Spain.
He definitely
Just got it before he put the swastika right there.
Quite an attractive man, I might say. You know, it just goes to show you, middle-aged men with ponytails, it never goes out of style.
No.
Never goes out of style.
That's a lot of Madison, Wisconsin, though. That is Madison, Wisconsin personified. Exactly. And it's a great place.
Exactly. But you know what? I bet he's a barrel of laughs at his coffee shop / bike rental.
I bet he actually wears barrels with little suspenders on them to entertain the local folk.
No, I bet it is. I'm sorry, it's an internet cafe / bike rental / coffee shop. That's what it is. And if you bring your own mug, you get 5 cents off.
Yeah.
All right, we'll close things out with a post-game wrap-up from Dana Vachon. See clips of recent shows. Go to foxnews.com/redeye. Time to go back to Dana Vachon for the post-game wrap-up.
Thank you, Greg.
You're welcome.
I've got some questions, some parting questions.
Oh, fantastic.
Good.
Chris, I hear you're working on a new handy-dandy chart.
I am. I was going to have an answer all about that horrible road in Delaware, but I guess I'll talk about what I'm up to this week. I'm doing a chart on how the best way that the daytime lineup could possibly wind up in the fall with Katie Couric and Anderson Cooper and all those people trying to figure out daytime. So check nymag.com later in the week.
I will. Joe DeVito, I hear that that's wrong. I'm wondering if you would ever recommend eating something called a meat monster.
No, I wouldn't, because that was my nickname in high school, and it's hurtful.
It is hurtful. Moving to Imogen. What are you doing next week?
I will be covering the royal wedding all week from London. Follow me on Twitter at @iLloydWebber to find out when I will be on a television set near you.
I'm all about the hashtag.
Ah, yes, babe.
Be just refreshing. And so will our host Greg Gutfeld, to whom I now throw it back.
Oh, well, thank you, kind
Thank you,
sir. Perhaps later we will enjoy some tea. I don't know. All right, Imogen, great job, Bill. Chris Rouser, always a delight. Joe DeVito, a positive joy. That does it for me. I'm Greg Gutfeld, and I shall see you tomorrow, possibly peeling. I have a little tan.